Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us again today. It is my absolute pleasure to be sharing some time with the amazing Helen Prince. Now, just to give you a little bit of background information on Helen, we're going to allow Helen to sort of take us on a journey a few years ago. We're going to go back in time and hear from Helen the challenges that she was experiencing as a woman with a passion to empower other women to build a business that was flexible around her family while also helping women to break free from their own stuff. So Helen, how many years ago do we need to go back first? How long ago do you think that you were starting to recognize that the dreams you had for your business were actually getting stalled?
So it would have been around 2000 and end of 2015, sort of beginning of 2016.
So about four and a half years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so if we go back to the Helen of 4.5 years ago, talk to me about what your business looked like first.
Yeah, okay. So I did a law of attraction life coaching course because I figured that if I can help me and then I can help others, that would be a really cool way to spend my time. I knew that I wanted to do more than just be, before that I was in normal 9-to-5 jobs and it wasn't very fulfilling. So I knew I wanted more than that. And this, when I found the law of attraction life coaching course, I thought that was it. That was going to be the thing that I wanted to do. And I loved it and I got a lot out of it. It helped me get from where I was to that next level up. But my business looked, nobody ever knew I had a business. Okay, it was this incredibly invisible business because I was very, very good at not talking about myself, not telling people what I did. And I would go to the events every now and then. I'd go to a networking event because that's what I was supposed to be doing, to tell people about my business. And I would spend all of the time there talking to other people. And every time someone would say, so what do you do? I'd do this big Wonder Woman deflection and don't talk about me. And I'd put it back on them because I guess I didn't feel comfortable having people looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I hated being the center of attention. I hated having all that focus on me. It made me very, very uncomfortable. And on top of that, to then say to someone, well, come and, this is what I do. I help women get rid of their limiting beliefs. I couldn't actually do it for myself. So I still had all of my own blocks. And even though what I'd done had helped me and they got me further along to being able to do what I wanted to do, I wasn't completely unstuck of all my stuff. And so I found it really, really hard to say to another woman, come to me, give me money. I'm going to free you of all your limiting beliefs so you can be happy and amazing and live this incredible life. But meanwhile, I haven't got my own shit together. Don't look at me though, because we're talking about you here. This has nothing to do with me, so don't look at me because I've got all my problems still. But we're going to just pretend that doesn't exist. So I couldn't say it to people, and so I would not talk about my business because I felt like, who am I to take somebody's money and promise all these things and I can't even fix myself? That was like the height of hypocrisy, and it felt really uncomfortable. So I had these two major uncomfortabilities, if that's even a word, going on, where don't look at me and I'm a fake. So my business, I think I would have been going for maybe 10 months, my coaching business, after I had got my certification and stuff and was sort of out there in the real world. I had one client. My business made $600 in 10 months, and that entire time I just questioned myself constantly. Like, did I really help her? How could I have? She's not going to be happy. She's going to come back. She's going to think, I want my money back because, you're full of shit. And And so that, even though she was saying to me, you know, thank you so much and what you did was great and I've been able to do this, this and this, and I didn't believe her because I doubted myself and my own abilities. And so she was my one and only client because I just never could bring myself to actually putting myself out there to tell people this is what I do, because I didn't believe in myself, basically.
So you did a course, and a course that's quite reputable. You know, everyone who is part of this industry, whether you're a coach, practitioner, or therapist, we all know of the law of attraction. So to do a course like that, it's quite reputable. You would expect that you're going to learn some things that you would be able to implement in a business. You then followed a system that said, get yourself out there and start introducing yourself, network and connect with people. And despite doing the right thing, you were really struggling in that space, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you saying to yourself in those moments where, you know, you've got this qualification, so you've got a piece of paper that says you know how to help other people. Internally, you're not believing it, but you're still pushing beyond that comfort level. You know, it sounds very much like that whole fake it till you make it. I'm just going to pretend I'm not struggling right now because this is what I need to do to be successful. So I'm going to force myself to do it. What were you saying to yourself in those moments when you were doing the right thing, trying to meet people, but falling over yourself, so to speak? Talk to me about the thought processes that you were actually struggling with at those moments in time, because I'm going to imagine there's a lot of women out there that have done courses that have the right qualifications now, but are still stuck in that, how do I connect with people even though it feels so wrong?
Yeah, it was very much it was really the doing part was what I struggled with the most, with actually going and making myself leave the house and go to an event where I didn't know people. Or even when I did know people, I think that was worse actually, because there was more room to hide when I knew the people there. When it was a brand new event, and going, because I would say to myself, you know, you've got to do this. How can you have a business if nobody knows that you have a business? So get out there. And because I am more of an introverted person, I'm not hugely social anyway. I found just taking that step and that whole feel the fear and do it anyway, that really didn't work for me, because it would drain me. I would have to expend all of this energy to show up to this event where where I wouldn't tell people what I was doing anyway. But then I would have to expend all this energy to do that, and then afterwards I would be exhausted from it, because it was such a big effort to do. And the whole time it was like, well, you know, you have to. It's like, well, I don't want to, but you have to. I don't want to, but you have to. And there was always this constant battle going on in my head. You know, well, what if they find out? What if they know? They're going to know. Just look at you. You don't know what you're doing. So there's all this head chatter that I had to just try and shut up long enough to be able to get in the car and go. And then even when I did that, when I was there, it's like, don't talk about yourself. They don't know. They don't care. You don't know what you're doing. Don't talk about yourself. Deflect, deflect, deflect. You know, just put the focus back on them. Whatever you do, just put the focus back on them. And so it really defeated the purpose of me going to these events anyway, because I had this constant in my head negative chatter, and there was this constant battle, you know, do this, no, yes, no, yes, no. And it was just exhausting.
And so if you said that you kept that up for around 10 months, what would it have been like if you had continued on that path, in that pattern of forcing yourself and then fighting with yourself and then feeling exhausted? Where do you think that would have led you if you'd continued that cycle?
I would have given up, and I would have gone back to having a 9 to 5 job and just feeling the same. And it was at that point, I'd been a stay-at-home mum for what year did I say it was? 2015. So I'd been a stay-at-home mum for a good 10 years, doing a little bit of working from home, juggling that whole sort of thing. And I was kind of just getting back into the workplace at that point before I found this course. And because I didn't want to get back into that 9 to 5 routine, I hated it. And I was at that point where, so my business wasn't working, obviously. And so my husband said to me one day, you know, it's probably about time you got yourself a real job. And that was like waving a red flag at a bull. It's like, right, I'm going to show you, mate, real job. So I got online and I started Googling because I didn't want a real job. I hated having a real job and having to go and, yeah, I just didn't like that. So anyway, that's where his comment was actually a godsend, because it made me get online and start looking, because I kept saying to myself over and over, you know, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be an easier way. I've done all this stuff. Why am I still banging my head against the wall? I don't have time for this. I've got 3 little kids and I'm trying to do work and trying to, you know, do all of this stuff. I don't have time to keep working on myself on the same things, because everything I did helped. Everything helped, and it got me to that next level. But as soon as I stopped doing it, I'd fall back into those old patterns. And that, I think, was the most frustrating part. Like, I've done this already. What the hell? And so I started Googling, and I was looking for jobs for coaches. And that's where I came across Creatrix. And as soon as I saw it and I read up and I watched a few little things, I knew that was what I was actually looking for. You know, that final piece to stop having to keep repeating over and over and over again. I was sick of that. I'd done enough of that. I wanted to do it, move on, do it, move on, do it, move on. Not do it, go backwards, try again, go backwards, try again. Had enough of that. So it was, finding Creatrix. And when I read all about it, and when I spoke to Maz for the first time and found out more about what she did, I just knew instantly that was it. I didn't have to look anymore.
So you did a law of attraction course, which, like we've said, is very reputable. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world know what it is. And then you find this new program that at that point was only a couple of years old. What made it different? Like, you've got this qualification from something that everybody knows about. That should be enough for you to, 1, fix yourself, and 2, help others to heal themselves. And then you find this other thing that is totally new, takes a completely different approach in terms of how it works. Can you share with us, what was the difference to you? What was your experience when you compare the law of attraction program that you did with the Creatrix training that you underwent?
You know, that's, I don't know. It was, I just knew it in my gut that this was what I was looking for. I don't even remember what it was that I saw or exactly what it was. I just knew. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but it was like everything that I'd watched, there was some before and after videos. There was another lady who I also knew through this law of attraction course who had done Creatrix as well. So I spoke to her as well. And after I spoke to Maz, I just knew that this was it. And I had that incredible blind faith that I've never felt before. You know, I've felt confident about stuff before and thought, yeah, this sounds really good, but it just felt different. And there was no question. It was just a no-brainer. I just knew.
And what was your experience of going through the program like when you compare it to the training you did with Law of Attraction and the training you did with Creatrix? Talk to me about the most significant differences between those.
It was a lot faster. It was so much simpler. You know, there's all these different processes that we learned through the law of attraction, of different things that you can do to help people get through the thing. So there was this huge list of things, and that's what I found was a little bit confusing as well, because it's like, okay, well, which one do I pick? How do I know which one's the right one to do? And with Creatrix, there's one process and that's it. It's so simple. And I didn't have to worry about, am I doing the right one or not, because there is only one choice. And the results were so fast and so impactful in such a short space of time. It was the simplicity of it is what I really noticed the difference is.
And how did it change the approach that you had towards your business? Knowing you spent 10 months after the law of attraction, forcing yourself and, really fighting with yourself to put yourself out there. How did the Creatrix training change your approach to business?
It actually made me realize how much I loved teaching. And if you hadn't said to me, any time up until that point, hey, you should be a trainer of stuff because, that'd be a nice job to do, I would have said, no, no, that's never going to happen. So once I got everything I needed, the learnings, and I got Creatrix around my intense fear of being seen, then it was like just a light switch, and it was okay. It was easy. There wasn't even a thought. It's like, okay, go and do a workshop now. It's like, okay. Whereas before it's like, before I would go, well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't, blah, 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 blah. Excuse, reason, justification, can't do it. And after, it was like, okay, I still don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'll just follow this and okay. So it was that really simple, just like, go to the shop and buy some bread. Okay. It was so simple. And it made me realize how much I loved teaching. And then that showed me that, yes, I want to help women, but I want to do it in a way, not just one-on-one. I want to do it on this grand scale where I can train other women, because I'm going to be able to have more of a reach that way by helping them to then get out there as well. So it was, it made my focus bigger. It opened up this huge possibility of not this little, okay, what can I do to help here? It's like, what can I do to help here? Yeah. And it just broadened everything.
So you stopped looking for just that one client and started really looking at, the overall change that you could help instigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mass impact I was looking for.
2016, you trained in Creatrix. You then started working more actively with the Institute of Women International. How many women have you now helped to, establish their own businesses, to train in Creatrix so they can go out and set other hearts free? How many women have you helped in that, 3.5 year, 4-year period?
Well, it would have been November 2016. So I did my course in the September, September 2016. So the next course at that point was at November. So that's when I actually started training to be a trainer. So from then until now, so that's been 3 years?
Yeah.
It'd have to be more than 200 women that I've had a hand in training and helping to set their hearts free so that they can go out and cause that ripple effect and help other women as well.
So if we were to break that down into sort of relatable relative time chunks, you had 10 months as being a trained law of attraction coach, and you worked with one client in that 10-month period. You've been training with Creatrix now for a little over 3 years for more than 200 women that you've helped. So in a 10-month period, if you were to go side by side, one client in 10 months with law of attraction, you're talking, 70, 80 clients in a 10-month span that you were a trainer with Creatrix.
Yeah, I guess I've never really looked at it like that, but
that's
a little bit of an improvement. Stepped it up a little bit.
Does it feel that it's been as hard and as challenging and as forced, knowing that ultimately times your results by 60 or 70. I don't know what the maths is, but it's a lot. You've times your result by a hell of a lot. How has it felt to do that? Has it felt as hard?
No, it's been so easy and it's been fun. And the thing that I've loved the most along the way is just continuing to learn and to grow and to step up. And every time something comes at me, like, right, okay, Creatrix that, and keep moving on.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been so easy and so much fun.
And you've got a rather unique perspective that I just want to touch on really quick, because you know, we're talking to coaches and therapists and practitioners of all sorts of modalities. You've got a very unique perspective in that you now train women like who we're speaking to so that they can create more success in their business. So when you reflect over the 200 plus women that you've helped to train, what's the difference that you've seen in their businesses, knowing their stories? You hear where they're at before and you get to watch them grow afterwards. What would be your observation of the women that you've been able to help?
It's how they step out of their own way, and we can get so very me focused, even though we want to be outwardly focused. We can get consumed in our own problems and our own head chat and all of that sort of stuff. And as much as we want to go out there and help these other people, we can't because of all that stuff that's going on. So what I absolutely love seeing and hearing the stories back from them where they go, I've done it. I've just had my first workshop. I've just had my first client. I've just had this. I've just done this. I'm doing this now. I'm doing that. And they're excited about what they're taking out there to the world, and watching them take those actions and those steps is really, really exciting. And being able to still be there for them as well, because, you know, we're with them. It's not just a one-off thing where we don't just train someone up and say, on you go, goodbye, good luck. It's like, no, we're part of what you do now because you're part of what we do. And being able to then still help them and encourage them. So when they've got questions, you know, give them some feedback, give them some advice, give them some guidance. And then watching them go on and take those steps, it's a very rewarding, very fulfilling feeling. And just knowing the ripple effect too that it has, because it's not just that one woman. Yeah, even when we do interest support on each other and we help each other through another glass ceiling, you know, that doing that for her then causes her to be able to take action that helps this many other people, that helps all of their families and their friends as well. So it's this incredibly huge ripple effect, and that's what I love the most, I think.
And it's a ripple effect that's not just immediate either. You know, I think the ripple effect that we often forget exists is the ripple effect for the future, because every empowered, changed, transformed woman that we assist, it's not just her family, it's her children's children and her children's children that she's able to influence because of the level of transformation that she undergoes. So the ripple effect that you've had because you did this one little course to help yourself develop some self-belief has become, you know, the direct impact of training 200 women that has then rippled out to really thousands that you've had a direct influence on. So way to go, you girl. That's kind of
Thank you. I think too that even just in my own family, the changes within my own family and how I am with them, and you know, it really did have an impact on my relationship. I'm on husband number 2, and I don't really want any more. But I was going down that path of, I was playing out my old patterns, and I was going down that path where I was pushing him away, and I was cranky and angry and really not very pleasant to be around. And just having him back to who he was when we first met, you know, it was fun and we would joke and laugh and really enjoy each other's company. Going back to that is incredible too. And watching everything that's going on now with everyone, how they're talking about, you know, it's so hard to be around your loved ones in closed confines and how to handle that. And Matt and I look at each other and we go, well, we don't really understand what the big fuss is about. But if I remember back to who I was, yeah, I can see how that could be a problem, because it was, you know, I was not very nice to be around, and I would pick on him a lot, and I would find a lot of things to stay angry about. And so, you know, just it's changed my relationship with him. It's changed my relationship with my kids, and I've become the role model that I want to be for them. Not just say, you know, kids, do this, do that, but actually show them through what I do. And that, you know, you don't have to be angry. There's always a solution. And this is all the stuff that you know logically, but to actually feel it and believe it and then display it in your action is a whole different thing. And I noticed the changes in my kids as well. So I'm, you know, hopefully they're going to grow up with better self-belief and confidence in themselves. And if they don't, then I know that I can help them with that as well. And that's going to help in their relationships when they get bigger and they have their own children. So yeah, it's the ripple effect, I think, is the biggest thing for me. Yeah. The ripple that we cause by owning our own stuff, doing something about it, and then what that ripple causes in the rest of the world, who else we're able to help just because of that.
Fantastic. So this is the first interview of a series of interviews that we are bringing to you to really help you to, number one, work on yourself and empower yourself during this moment of crisis while COVID-19 is really changing the way that we live our lives. Because like Helen touched, we're in a moment right now where we are being triggered to feel new beliefs that we've never felt before and to feel old beliefs even more intensely. So this interview series is really designed to help you to, you know, as Helen said, put the oxygen mask on yourself and to build your own emotional resilience. Secondly to that, by doing that, it gives you the ability to build a really engaged, burnout-proof business that you can be excited about, that just becomes an extension of yourself, so that it's not feeling so forced and so heavy, particularly at a time when it would be very easy for that to happen. So over the course of the next few interviews, you're going to hear from some of our other coaches, all designed to inspire you to maybe just tap inside of yourself, and if what we're speaking resonates, give you a pathway that you can follow to learn more about how a Creatrix transformologist business could really add a whole new dimension to the business that you've got currently set up. So thank you so much for your time, Helen. Thank you so much for your honesty today. And we will be speaking with you all again in the next interview.